This is Greg, and he's in the middle of the ocean. And on this ship, there's all sorts of things you can do. You can watch magic shows, eat dishes made by a private chef, or even go surfing. But Greg's feeling a bit seasick, so he spends most of his time thrown up in the barrel. Then suddenly, he hears a bunch of screaming on the ship, so he goes to check it out. Then he sees that they're heading right towards an iceberg. So everyone on board starts to panic. And then they crash into the iceberg. After the crash, Greg washed up on an island. To make this island, I first built a beach using these 10 colored pieces. I want there to be a forest in the center, so I made the dirt floor using brown pieces. And then I added a bunch of trees on top of it. To make it more diverse, I also added these other plants. Finally, I made the beach look a bit more realistic. So a few hours after the crash, Greg finally woke up. And he immediately started to panic. But then he found this old lady in need of help.
Oh, help me, help me!
So then Greg jumped into the water to rescue her. But before he could get to her... After that, Greg quickly got back on the island and decided to wait for help to arrive. But after some time, Greg got really hungry and thirsty. So he went around the island to look for food, but couldn't find anything. But then he noticed something floating on the water, so he wanted to go get it, but he couldn't just swim towards it. Luckily, Greg found a solution for that. He picked up a rock and started chopping down a tree. Using the wood, Greg could now build a raft. Now he could safely cross the water, get the barrel, and return. Back on the island, he then opens the barrel, hoping for food or water, but instead finds a treasure map. So now Greg was still super hungry, but then he remembered he was in the middle of the ocean. So he grabbed a stick and caught a fish. Then he gathered a bunch of wood and rocks to build a campfire. Using this fire, Greg could now cook his food. He could also use the boiled seawater to make it drinkable. Then it started to get dark. So Greg grabbed a bunch of leaves and made a bed to sleep on. The next morning Greg got woken up by a bunch of pirates, who tell Greg to give them all his gold. Greg then tells him he doesn't have any gold. So the captain tells him he's gonna feed him to the sharks. Then Greg remembered the map he found earlier and promised to take the pirates to the treasure. The treasure is hidden in a creepy cave, which I then built using these grey slopes and bricks. Now after I finished the cave, I built this giant skull and added it on top. Then I added this chest in the cave and the skeleton boy to make it a bit more creepy. So the treasure map leads them to this cave, where the pirates find the biggest treasure they've ever found. Har har har! To thank Greg for his help, the captain then gave him this pickaxe. Using this pickaxe, Greg could now chop down all the trees. So now Greg had a bunch of wood, and using this wood, he could now build a safer place to sleep in, so he won't get robbed again. And for this, he built a giant tower. On top of this tower is where he then built his room. Inside this room, I added this bed for him to sleep in. To make it blend in with the trees, I added these leaves on the side. Then I built this roof, to keep Greg dry on a rainy day. Then finally I added this ladder, which can fold up and down. So on top of this tower you can safely look for incoming enemies, and also shoot down on them using a bow and arrow. So after finishing building the tower, Greg planted back all the trees, so bro pretty much found an infinite wood glitch. Using this pickaxe, Greg could also mine stone, so now he's gonna upgrade his Yee-Yee campfire by building a furnace out of stone. You can use this furnace for multiple things. You can forge weapons, or just cook fish. For the leftover fish I built this rack, which can hold up to 3 fish. Then I also added this barrel, which you can use to store weapons and tools. I want this building to be open, so instead of walls I use pillars. Then I added this chimney for the smoke to escape out of. And then I built this roof, with a cutout for the chimney. Finally I added some smoke to the chimney, and this little fish logo. Now the furnace room is finished. The raft that Greg built earlier kept getting blown away. So to fix this, Greg then built this dock, which you can use to chain your ships to. So now the raft is secure. Now after all the fish he ate, he really needed to go to the bathroom, but he hadn't built one yet. So the next build is gonna be the bathroom. I started by making the floor. Then I added this barrel, which Greg can use as a toilet.
Oh yeah.
Yo Greg, calm down. After doing the deed, you can clean the toilet by throwing it in the ocean. Now to add a bit more privacy, I built this chamber around the toilet. Then I also added this door, which can open and close. I also added this bathtub, cause Greg really started to smell.
Oh yeah.
After leaving the bathtub, Greg was still a bit drippy. So I made this towel out of leaves, which you can use to dry yourself off. Then finally I added this bench, where you can chill on. Now we're finished with the interior. So now it's time to build the walls. For the back wall I used these log pieces. And I did the same for the front. Now for the roof I again used this pointy design, which I also used for the furnace building. For the roof I built 2 of these plates, and then added them together using snot pieces. And then I placed it on top. Finally I added these candles on the front. And the bathroom is finished. So now Greg had pretty much everything he needed to survive. A place to sleep, cook and bathe. But it still felt like he was missing something fun to do. So he chopped down a few more trees and used the wood to build a super high diving board. So first I built a base using these pillars. Then on top I added this platform. Finally I added this ladder to help you get up. So after Greg finished building, he climbed up the stairs to test it out. Once he looked down, he started to get a bit nervous. But then he remembered some wise words he once heard.
Never back down, never what? Never back down, never what?
Never give up! Oh crap. Greg? You okay? Oh shoot.